So, what is duckponics? Let's take a look. Here we've got two beds that have been established about a month ago, about a week ago, this week, maybe. Water gets pumped out of the sump. There are two tanks. This is this is the second one, much better, larger. Here's the sump with the tank on it. This plumbing is here to equalize it. Some of these valves may not ever be used. They were just attached to the pipe when I recycled it into this project. So what happens is the water gets pumped out of the sump up into the fish tanks, flows by gravity through gravel beds, and soon there will be floating raft beds here as well. These tanks have fish in them. So we're going to walk around. Some of our water filtration. We're going to have two 30-gallon ponds like this hooked up. We're just going to do one at a time. We're trying to establish the height and get the flow working. This is the ducks' wet area, and where they come eat and drink. These water buckets that they're drinking out of now will be replaced by these ponds, and they'll have actually steps to get up into the ponds and splash as much as they want. Of course, here's the dry area, which, not too surprisingly, they like to spend a lot of their time. And then out into the wild blue yonder. So that's duckponics. Basically, this started as a recycling system. We had these beds that you see here sitting on top of these tanks. This is a pretty classic IBC toad setup. But I realized that we were getting a lot more growth than could really be explained by the amount of nutrients we seem to be applying. Although we want to start measuring all of that. And decided to add fish, and lo and behold, we found that actually tilapia, which hopefully will live through the winter here, because it's going to get colder than they're supposed to be able to tolerate, so I hope they don't die off. But soon this greenhouse will go from a very, very loose open greenhouse to to one that can be very, very tight, so that will help preserve the heat and hopefully keep the water above 40 degrees. Anyway, so we redesigned this. This is all being operated on one pump. Now we have two pumps here. That's more of a backup, and we're getting enough flow to keep the beds, the bell siphons, cycling on these beds with the flow we've got now, and that's really all I need. Just a little bit of swirling with these solid SLO waste systems. This goes all the way down to the bottom. So it's overflowing from the top, but the water's coming from the bottom, and the water's set to slowly swirl around to help push the solids out. That's a big consideration when you're growing lots of fish. We're just growing a few fish. We have fewer than 100 fish in here. Far, far less than the capacity for this much water. But we're just using them as part of the recycling system. And the other thing that we'll be doing with them is everything that we can't get all these guys to eat, including the ducks, we're feeding the insects, and hopefully we'll feed the insects back to the ducks and the fish in one form or another. Anyway, that is duckponics. We're still building this out, but we're hoping to do a lot of science here and get some answers about what makes this work and why the growth just seems to be off the charts for the amount of nutrients that we're feeding.